Peace, what up? This is Jarrell with Quantum Light Consciousness. Today we're going to talk about unlocking your inner space and embodying yourself in that inner space, that inner soul field, your inner space. This is a cool topic because I don't really see anybody really, and I start every video off like this, I kind of fill in the blanks here on where I feel like people need to know about their spiritual development and how they can really embody that higher version of themselves, like from like the deepest space within. So this video is going to be about you being in control of what goes on within that spatial awareness within inside yourself. Because believe it or not, guys, ladies, gentlemen, we are actually spinning on a globe in the middle of space, and that space is actually a void of infinite space. So, if you realize that you're not your body, you're kind of just floating in a void of infinite space. And if you're not aware of you in that space, then anything goes. And this is really like just a instructional guide on how to regulate the energies that goes through your inner space, that goes through your auric field, that goes through your physical body and your mind, because your thoughts are only energy, and you're not your thoughts. So here we go. So it's really kind of like you have to do meditation. Like if you don't do meditation, then this video isn't for you. This is more of an advanced instructional guide here. So you have to know how to meditate. You have to know how to kind of really get into that space where you don't have many thoughts going through your mind, if any thoughts at all. You have to learn how to still your mind and can more or less control your mind. So you have to get into a space of just observation. So it really helps to detach from ego programming completely, so you can view yourself where you are, regardless of what the world would think, what anybody else thinks, regardless of any evidence of anything ever even existing based on what you're viewing. Because if you want to progress, you're going to progress past people stuck in a glass box of their own reality that was spoon-fed to them from what they have learned from birth. So you have to release bias of what you would or wouldn't allow to see or feel, so you can actually see and feel what's actually going on. This actually does attribute to the energies that can run through your field. Like there's crazy stuff that you never think that would be like attached to you or on you, as a parasitic function. And there it is, and nobody can explain it, because nobody's awake or aware enough, to actually depict the types of, entities or awarenesses that would actually utilize something like that. And when you're objective, totally in the space of objectivity and non-judgment, you're free to discern. You're free to see it. You're like, okay, that shouldn't be there, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to remove that frequency, that attachment, that hook, that implant, that AI interference. I'm going to remove that shit and continue to heal and expand my awareness, my energy, my clairsentience, and that's where your power is, in your own awareness. So second key is connecting with your soul council. So this is one of my favorite things that I just recently discovered, because when you're kind of like going through an awakening energetically, you wake up in your soul space like when you go to sleep, you wake up in a deep space. And I woke up in my soul space the other day, and I realized I was in a council, and I was in the center of it. And you realize that you're not just one being, like you actually incarnate with like 7 versions of yourself. And you have actual say on who is in your council. So, you could have guardians, you could have higher angelics, or you can have any positive being, in your soul council. And that's pretty important to know, because it's like a circle of protection. It's like a guide. It's a guidance of your own being, being protected, and you being embodied in a physical vessel simultaneously as just a spirit, as a soul essence at the same time. So you can call guardians to actually, be with you in your soul space. I personally like, higher angelics. I call them, and I call them down. I call them down from 13 density, 13D. And you want to make sure that you are calling down light beings. And the universe is polarized. If you look at yourself as a toroidal field head on, you're going to see the toroidal field as like a polarized, self-perpetuating system of biological evolution. So if you were to see the galaxy as a toroidal field, you'd see, positive galaxies up on the left, like light galaxies on the left with beings who have their stuff sorted out on the left. And then on the right, you'd see, kind of like beings who have not sorted out their emotional development and evolvement, and darker galaxies with darker planets with wars going on the right. So same thing with you, because you're your own universe, and you're attached to the universe. So if you call any light being in, you want to see them come into your space, or at least walk up in front of you, or you feel their presence from the left. So when I call them, you can call down any types of guardians you like, and you just watch it come down from the left. And then basically you stand at the center of 6 circles around yours. So you stand in a circle, and there's 6 circles around you in the creation pattern, and that's where your soul council is. And when you're basically viewing your soul council, they should be congruent to your particular soul essence, which is a pure white source flame. And it's pretty basic, and you call them in, and then you have protection. Like, you can call them in, anytime you feel like you might be getting, interference from somewhere, or you might be going through, a rough place in life, or you might be traveling through you might feel like there is some type of energetic involvement on a negative polarity when you drive through a particular space in town, and then you just call your guardians, and they stand around you in a circle. And that's basically like the highest type of protection you can get. Besides actually merging with one of those guardians, which is, pretty, that's up to you. Okay, so after you've done that, and you see the soul essences of your guardians that you've called in, it's pretty easy to understand that, if they're not radiating unconditional love as well, then, they're, before you call them in, they're not, benevolent aspects of you. So you should just make sure that, you see them off, and then you call them again, and you make sure that they are, beings of higher light. So, after they take their positions, basically what you do is you can project down to the center of the planet, down to Gaia, and basically same thing. Gaia same as you. She is a multidimensional being. She's huge, and at her core essence is crystalline white source flame. So you could view her like that, and you could position your soul council around her flame, and then you basically have protection below you, and then you shoot all the way up to the galactic sun, and you do the same thing. And then you basically have protection around you, below you, above you, and that's really needed, if you want to, progress and actually wake up and move through this dense realm in a physical body, because it's kind of like a game, and that's the way the controls, like the corporations, are playing it, with everything that they move into the consciousness of the people is against them, and the people don't understand it, so they play themselves. And it's just making sure that you have all of the connections that you will need to support you and guide you. And that's also why on my blog I'd always talk about making sure that you're connecting with the planet, because when you have support under you, when you know Gaia as that frequency, as an essence, as the actual mother of your soul, basically, is eternal, loving upliftment, and that support is not found anywhere else. Like, if you want to develop, you need, because you're constantly getting hit, you're constantly getting barraged by either there's people around you, or there's satellites beaming shit down, or there's you watch a TV show and then it'll hit you, and then you have a bad dream about it. It's stupid, and it's like, or you have a job and you basically you are stressed out a lot. As long as you can feel love for yourself, you can feel the love that the planet actually has for you as a sentient being, and you go into that, and then you thrive off that, and you grow and develop, and you start to actually bloom like a lotus. So at least in your consciousness, that's how your consciousness starts to evolve. So when you have that position with your soul councils, in both positions, because they can actually project as themselves in the same position, in different actual physical positions, because they're infinite beings, on the sun, around you, and down on the earth. You start to breathe with your connection through the sun and the earth, as one of the meditations I taught, the breath of fire. It's called a Toroja breath. You basically, I've gone through it a lot. It's simple. Just think of you connected to the sun and the earth, and between the sun and the earth is a huge golden infinity spiral, vertical, and just spin that spiral counterclockwise around you. Spin that around you and breathe through that. So you can breathe down on your exhale, exhale down to the center of the planet. You hit that, and then you can breathe all the way up to the sun, and you can go back down to the planet, and you can breathe all the way back up to the source of all creation, source energy. And that really cleans out your field, helps you clear your field, and you remain protected with your soul council. So the last part is crystallizing your sphere, number 4. It's crystallizing your sphere and holding your field. This is a more or less very advanced. This is what I found out after getting hit with tons of frequency of negative forces, and actually going into like the geometry of my like actual physical being and seeing how it links up to my body metaphysically. Basically, you're going to want to keep yourself in a crystalline sphere, and I kind of had a hard time realizing like how a crystalline sphere would look, so I wasn't able to actually crystallize it until I actually found like the actual formation of the crystal. And if you're like that, like you can just basically visualize like a golden platinum decagon. It's basically like it's like a diamond dodecahedron, and you put yourself in that, and basically you make sure that your Taurus is always firing. You know, it's kind of like you're in your body, but you're like treading water, you know, inside your crystalline sphere to keep your energy flowing, you know, keep your field flowing. Yeah, and when you do this, it's like, you know, you basically start to hold your consciousness up. Your consciousness is actually projectable, and you can project you know, yourself as a sovereign, as a unified being, with their own unique perspective, viewing objectively. You know, you view through the veil, and you view through the consciousness of what's going on interdimensionally, as those higher dimensional realities are layered over the third dimension. And the way you view that is like, you just picture like you picture like an ocean in front of you, vertical at level, you know, and you're kind of just in the beginning, you're holding it with force, and then the more you can hold it, you know, the easier it gets with your consistency. And this is also like, it's like calling your soul council and, you know, crystallizing your sphere and holding your field. It's like spinning your welcome mat around. Have you ever seen that LL Bean commercial where the guy walks out his house? You know, before he walks out his house, he spins his welcome mat around. Just picture yourself as a house, and instead of, you know, having people walk all over you, you know, or frequencies come in every which type of way, and beings just, you know, fucking with you from like all types of different aspects of your subconscious, you spin your welcome mat around, and then you are able to regulate what types of energies go on within your inner space, you know, with your guides. You know, it's also like standing up dimensionally, because, you know, when you are not in your power and you don't know what is up or down dimensionally, you have beings that literally walk on cables. It's crazy. They walk on cables, and it's like you are lying down like in water, just like how they depict in the Egyptian hieroglyphs. You know, you have to get up or else you get walked on, you know, by corporations or by, you know, negative forces or whatever. So if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I'm available for sessions if you like at quantumlight.net. Thanks so much. Much love.